When my parents decided it was time to move into assisted living, we did what most families do. We looked online, we compared prices, we visited communities, walked through the buildings, talked to the staff and the residents, tried to figure out which place felt most like them. My parents narrowed it down to their top three choices, and we even visited them at lunchtime so that they could see what the food was like. After all, if they're going to be fed 3 times a day, we wanted to make sure that the food quality was good. They got to talk to other residents that lived there and really get the inside scoop on what it was like. And honestly, I thought that they'd done a really good job with their research. The community that they ended up choosing felt warm and welcoming from the beginning. The staff is so friendly. Everybody there is so nice. They felt very welcome from the minute they arrived. And after they moved in and got settled, I finally started to breathe a little bit easier. This had been something that my dad in particular had been talking about for years and years. And so finally, to have had the decision be made, they moved, got the home put on the market, we felt very good about the place that they had moved into. Making a move like this is very emotional for everyone. Even though they knew it was probably the right decision, there was still that little voice in the back of their head saying, did we make the right decision? Did we choose the right place? Could we have stayed in our house longer? Did we jump the gun? Did we move too early? Then a couple months later, I learned that there's actually a state website where you can look up inspection reports and violations and complaints for senior living communities. I had decided to become a senior transition specialist, so I was going through advanced training. And even though I'd been a realtor for 20 years at this point, I had no idea that databases like that existed. So naturally, I searched the community where my parents lived. I found a 13-page report that had been released 2 months prior. So I started to read it and it was all in legalese. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. So I downloaded the PDF, I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I said, please read this document and give me the most important things to pull out of this report. Give me the highlights. Within seconds, I thought we had made the biggest mistake of our entire lives. You can imagine how my heart completely stopped when it said, and I quote, "This is brutal. This inspection report exposes a nightmare of a personal care home where vulnerable residents were forced to live in horrifying, filthy, dangerous conditions. The owner has completely lost control and was arrested on the spot." I cannot explain to you how my stomach completely bottomed out when I read this. I'm going to put the synopsis up on stream. The police had to come and use a battering ram to forcibly break in. The owner was found completely naked. The entire place was a pigsty. They were running sort of meth lab in the property. Oh my gosh. I seriously thought I was going to have a heart attack on the spot. So I'm reading this report and it's talking about drugs, neglect, unsafe living conditions, squalor and filth, the police with the battering ram. And this is literally what it says in this report. So at this point, I'm completely panicking. How on earth could we have missed this? How were there no warning signs? How could this place have seemed so nice? How could they have fooled us so completely? And so my brain immediately starts running wild because when you're making decisions about where you're going to spend the next chapter of your life, the fear of making the wrong decision was very, very real. And this seemed to completely validate all of those fears. Now, here's the craziest part of the story. It was not the same facility. It has the same exact name. It's still in Georgia, but it's not in Savannah. It's in a completely different city hours away. It was not the place. I cannot explain to you the relief I felt when I realized that. I even called my mom and dad and we had a big old laugh about it. But after the laughter subsided, I kept thinking how easily this could have happened to someone else. How many other people did not choose this absolutely beautiful, lovely community based on this report? And all of the reports that probably came before it, because there were plenty more to choose from, I just downloaded the most recent one. Because researching senior living online Can get very confusing very quickly. You're reading not just reviews from consumers and family members, you're reading these inspection reports from the Department of Health that are, legalese. They go into very complicated language and they're not in layman's terms. So the average person reading it doesn't really know how to make heads or tails of what it's saying. And if you're already very emotional about this decision of giving up the home that you've lived in for a very long time, so many people have lived in this home where they raised their children. And now they're thinking of selling this house and move into a senior living community. It stirs up a lot of emotions. And one scary thing that they read online can completely make you say, nope, nope, absolutely not. We will not be doing that. So these inspection reports are extremely important. They really, really matter. If a community has repeated violations, serious safety issues, it doesn't matter how pretty the lobby looks or how yummy the dinner is. But what I learned is it's not always easy to interpret what it is that you're reading if you don't work with this stuff on a regular basis. And that's why it's really helpful to have someone local who understands these communities and can help you make sense of what you're looking at instead of panicking over a headline or a scary chat GPT synopsis. Because researching senior living is not as simple as who's got the nicest arts and crafts room and who's got the best breakfast. People don't just need information, they need help understanding the information. And that's a huge difference. I've toured communities with beautiful websites and very polished marketing brochures, but they didn't feel warm or welcoming once you walked inside. And I've seen places with outdated carpet in the lobby, but the residents love living there and adore the staff that's taking care of them. That's one of the reasons I became a senior transition specialist in the first place. After going through this process with my own parents, I realized how much there is to consider and how overwhelming and confusing it can be for people in this stage of life. I help seniors find the community that's right for them and then help them sell their home and all of their extra furniture and belongings to pay for this new chapter of their lives. So if you want help sorting through your options here in the Savannah area, schedule a time to talk with me. No pressure, no obligation. I'll put the link down below and let's find out if I can help you too.